A terrifying reality almost hit the Circle City, and nobody realized how close we were to disaster. One of the absolute biggest anchors of our entire defense was seriously considering hanging up his cleats for good. A scary medical situation pushed our veteran leader to the brink behind closed doors. But a massive update straight from Grand Park just changed the entire mood for the Horseshoe. Our trench monster is officially back in action and looking incredibly hungry. The young guys are stepping up to keep him fresh too. You need to hear this wild update right now. The sight of DeForest Buckner moving across the turf at Grand Park is perhaps the most welcome image for Indianapolis Colts fans this summer. After enduring a season-ending neck surgery last year, our veteran defensive tackle is officially back on the field, participating in training camp. When you consider that Buckner suffered a herniated disc against the Pittsburgh Steelers back in Week 9, his presence today represents a hard-won victory for one of our team's true pillars. He tried to battle back with stem cell injections to play in Week 16 against the San Francisco 49ers, but the severity of the injury necessitated the final procedure. Having admitted that he actually questioned whether he wanted to continue playing football at all, his return carries deep emotional weight for those who value his leadership. Here's what people are missing about his recovery process. While everyone is relieved to see him back, his workload is being handled with extreme caution. He has graduated to 11 on 11 reps, yet he is still managing muscle soreness while emphasizing specific soft tissue and tracking recovery to ensure no setbacks occur. We are currently watching how this careful ramp-up impacts the development of younger tackles like Colby Wooden and Adetomiwa Adebawor, who are gaining valuable starter snaps in his absence. The front office and staff are desperate to keep their two veteran starters fresh, yet we have to wonder if these young players are truly ready to take on the heavy rotation load required to protect Buckner's health. Can these newcomers maintain their current flash of production once the intensity of the regular season begins to demand so much more? The most striking aspect of this recovery is the sheer resilience required to keep a career spanning over a decade alive after such a terrifying physical setback. Think about it this way. When a veteran who has been a pillar for this organization for 10 years faces the possibility of forced retirement, the psychological hurdle is often much higher than the physical one. DeForest Buckner had to weigh the future of his health against his dedication to the field, ultimately deciding to commit to the long, grueling rehabilitation path that brought him back to Westfield. Our coaches and front office recognize that having a leader of his stature back in the building is worth every bit of the cautious, controlled workload currently being implemented. Behind the scenes, Shane Steichen is surely emphasizing a sustainable approach to ensure our defense remains a force without risking his long-term wellness. Keeping a star defender over 30 years of age in the starting rotation requires a balanced rotation, and the emergence of players like Adetomiwa Adebawor, who managed 4.0 sacks last season, offers a genuine safety net that simply did not exist in years past. The organization is clearly prioritizing the longevity of their veteran anchors by leaning on these younger athletes to absorb the physical punishment that naturally occurs in the trenches. By strategically managing his return to contact drills, the staff is betting that they can keep our primary interior presence available for the entire season. Watching the transition from individual drills back to full participation will be the ultimate test of his readiness to anchor this defense once again. Shifting from the basic facts of his rehabilitation to the broader implications for our season, we have to recognize why this matters right now. This is not just about a veteran player returning to form. It is about protecting the structural integrity of a defense that relies on interior dominance to set the tone. Here's where it gets interesting as we look at the immediate roster management. Because the coaching staff is wisely easing him back into high-impact contact, the depth chart is currently seeing a unique shift. We are witnessing young players like Colby Wooden and Adetomiwa Adebawor taking meaningful snaps that would normally be locked away by our starters. This change forces a rapid maturation process for these young defenders, who must now prove they can handle the physical grind of the trenches against high-level competition. Should these two successfully step up, it provides a rare, sustainable rotation that keeps the veteran duo of Buckner and Grover Stewart fresh for the final stretch of the year. This durability is the single biggest factor in our ability to compete deep into the winter. If we can manage the workload effectively while waiting for his full return to contact, the defensive front gains a versatility that could be the difference in tight divisional contests. Keeping him healthy while building reliable depth is the exact strategy required to push past our rivals and secure a spot in the postseason. We are betting everything on this measured approach, trusting that a cautious start to his summer will yield the powerful, disruptive performance we need to anchor this entire defense through a full campaign. Having a leader like DeForest Buckner back in the fold provides the massive defensive stability required to compete for a division title this season. The upside is undeniable because his presence elevates every single person aligned next to him, turning our front into a genuinely intimidating force when he is firing on all cylinders. However, we must remain grounded regarding the risks involved with a neck injury of this nature, specifically the threat of chronic setbacks when pushing through contact. And this is the part that gets me, as the reliance on young contributors like Colby Wooden and Adetomiwa Adebawor is a gamble that could easily backfire if they fail to replicate his veteran savvy under pressure. Other observers around the league point toward this rotation as a potential weak link, noting that asking unproven players to fill the void left by a former All-Pro is a high-stakes move for such a long year. While coaches want to avoid overextending our older starters, there is a legitimate fear that any recurring soreness in Buckner's neck will force him to the sideline permanently, leaving us without our anchor. Here is where I land on this. While I applaud the organization for exercising caution, I suspect some are overestimating how quickly these younger guys can adapt to the speed of the professional game. I honestly think expecting a seamless transition is wishful thinking given the physical toll required of defensive tackles. We absolutely need him on the field, but I am keeping my expectations tempered until he proves he can handle the full grind of a Sunday afternoon with heavy contact. When you weigh the medical reality of his recovery against the long-term roster construction, the path forward becomes clear. This season is about testing the structural durability of our veteran-led defense. Our franchise is moving toward a model where high-end experience is buffered by hungry, younger talent, ensuring our defensive identity remains intact even when our primary stars are sidelined. And here's why that's a big deal. The transition from the training room to 11-on-11 work indicates that our internal medical plan is working exactly as intended. You should feel a genuine sense of optimism because the organization is successfully managing the workload of a 10-year veteran without forcing him into a situation that could trigger a relapse. Seeing DeForest Buckner back on the grass after neck surgery is a massive success for everyone involved, proving the staff is serious about preserving our key assets while simultaneously building legitimate depth with players like Adetomiwa Adebawor and Colby Wooden. This balanced approach protects our immediate competitiveness and sets the stage for a deep, versatile rotation that keeps our veterans sharp for the high-intensity weeks ahead. While the concern regarding any contact injury is perfectly natural for a fan base that values its leaders, the daily progress shown by number 99 is the most encouraging sign we could have asked for this summer. Does the consistent development of young contributors like Wooden and Adebawor give you enough confidence to believe our defensive front can thrive, even if our starters need more rest than usual? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. For the shoe, I'll see you in the next one.